Hi, my name is James Watts. I am a freelance camera operator and editor based in the southwest of England, and I predominantly shoot corporate videos. And with corporate videos comes an awful lot of corporate interviews. Now, with that, I have two go-to lighting setups that I use, whether I'm going out on location or whether I'm going to be in a studio. And based on that, I normally bring one light in particular that works as a 3/4 backlight. So in this video, I'm going to go through why I've now switched over to using the Lupo Kickasspanel for that purpose. What I wanted for my corporate interviews was just to add a splash of colour to the background, because every now and then I do find myself in very uninspiring office buildings, and just to be able to add a little bit of colour in there to match the branding or to complement the person I'm interviewing, or just to bring something else, just to add a little bit more production value to the interview, is always really greatly appreciated. Lupo has come to the market with the Kickasspanel, which is certainly an eye-catching name, but the main attraction of this light is that it is an RGBWW panel with full HSI, as well as bicolor from 2800 to 10,000 Kelvin. As well as this, it also has a +1 and -1 green magenta adjustment. This feature is very helpful for me, as my Panasonic EVA1 shows me how much it has to adjust for the green magenta shift when doing a custom white balance, which means I can match the Lupo more closely to my other lights. I think it's important for me to show you not just specifications or breakdowns of, lighting statistics, but to actually take you on location and to go through how I would use the Lupo Kickasspanel day to day in my corporate video work. So I'm going to show you one scenario, which is a standard interview setup that I would do in maybe a studio space, and then one where I'm going to be adding just a splash of color to the background to show exactly how much versatility there is in this light. This is one of my more traditional interview looks. So I've got the Panasonic EVA1 with a 70-200 at 85mm. We're at f3.5 ISO 450th of a second. I've got a Godox SL200W as a key light here, and I've got the Lupo Kickasspanel as my 3/4 backlight. Now what's really good about this is that the Kickasspanel is at 9% power, with a lot of little panels, especially with my F7, to get the look that I want, which is just shaping the jaw and just shaping this eyebrow here. My Aputure F7 is somewhere near 45–50% most of the time. This is at 9%, and that's really good for a small little panel. I've even put the frost on it just to diffuse it that little bit more. If I brought it down anymore, it wasn't actually showing what I wanted it to. But to have this amount of light and for it to be able to be controlled in this manner is really special. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep almost an identical setup, but this time I'm going to remove the Kickasspanel and put it on the background and turn it into what it's supposed to be, which is an RGB panel. One of the things I quite like about the Kickasspanel is it's got a load of presets built into it. So you can go through all of the HSI, RGBWW all separately and create exactly the color you want. But actually, if you're just looking to get a color really quickly and throw it up on the background if you're in a rush, I really like that it's got loads of colors pre-programmed into it, and you can just cycle through them until you find the color you want to use on your background, or indeed in the shot you're setting up. I think that's a really nice little feature to have built in. Okay, all I've done now is I've moved the Kickasspanel around, I've got rid of my 3/4 backlight, and I've turned the Kickasspanel into a background light and put a strawberry gel on the background. And that's just given me a very good contrast between the color in the background and what the color is on my skin tone. And that's really just to show the difference between what you can achieve with, if you've just got a plain white wall behind you, you can throw up any color you want and make it on brand so that you can match whatever's in the office building or whatever's around the location, just to bring something else to the equation, just to bring something else to the shot that's really going to elevate your production value as you go through shooting interviews or similar situations like this. The Lupo F7 is, I think, the perfect replacement for the Aputure F7 that I've got. It's far more versatile, it can cover a greater range in terms of the Kelvin temperature scale, and it's also got a frost on it as well, or rather, you can add a frost to it. It's about a half frost. It's not actually my favorite implementation of a diffuser on a light, but it gets the job done. The Kickasspanel is a lot bigger than the Aputure F7. I wouldn't say it's much bigger when it comes to storing it in, say, a think tank production manager bag, but it is something to bear in mind when looking between the two of them and how you would use them. For example, I might continue using the Aputure F7 as a 3/4 backlight or as a hair light, but the Lupo Kickasspanel I would use for that background, just to add something else in. Now, when you're in the standard color temperature modes, you're going to get full access to the power of this light. You're going to get that maximum of, I think it's 2100 lux at 1 meter. You're going to get that output. When you drop into the HSI or the RGB modes, you do lose half the output of the light. But actually, that still makes it quite a powerful light in comparison with something like the Aputure MC. The Lupo Kickasspanel was originally designed for on-camera use. It's got big dials, it's got a big LCD screen, it's very easy to use. It takes Sony MPF batteries, and it can also be powered using a DC or USB-C input. The one thing I think that is missing from the Lupo Kickasspanel is a battery indicator icon. Now, because the light can be updated via USB, I'm hoping that a battery indicator icon is something that can be added in firmware, because it's a real shame that there isn't one. Where this light really shines is just adding a splash of color onto the background, just to change things up a little bit. I mean, at the moment I've got a blue background, and that's coming from an LED panel right behind me. But as you'll see in some of the examples I've got here, you can have any color combination that you want on your background as an accent somewhere, and that makes this light so versatile. It shares an awful lot of the same technology that it shares with its sister products like the Action Panel and the Super Panel, and it's so much brighter than a lot of other LED panels of its own size. It's far brighter than the Aputure F7, and that's due to the lenses in front of the LEDs. I really like the Lupo Kickasspanel. I'm not going to make any secret of that fact. It's a really versatile little light and something that I've added to my kit bag, and it's going to be coming with me on all of my productions going forward. Every interview I'm going to find a way to slot in the Kickasspanel. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one.